All right, you lot, gather round and let me tell you about beer. We're talking a right proper drink here, one that's been around for donkey's years. We're talking way back, see, to ancient Mesopotamia, roughly 7,000 years ago. They were some clever geezers, those Mesopotamians. They figured out how to ferment grains and make a tasty beverage. Can you believe it? This wasn't just any old drink, mind you. This was beer, and it was a big deal. They even had a goddess of beer, Ninkasi. That tells you something, doesn't it? Now, these early beers weren't quite like the pints we enjoy down the pub. They were probably pretty thick and gruel-like. Not exactly refreshing on a hot day, eh? But hey, you try coming up with a better brew 9,000 years ago. Now let's hop over to ancient Egypt, where beer was practically a national treasure. They called it heket, and it was a staple of their diet. Men, women, children, even the pharaoh himself. They all enjoyed a good brew. They believed it was a gift from Osiris, the god of the underworld. The Egyptians took their beer seriously, you see. They used it in religious ceremonies, paid their workers with it, and even buried their dead with it. Talk about taking one for the road, eh? They even had special hymns dedicated to beer. They weren't just casual drinkers either. They brewed massive amounts of the stuff. Some historians reckon they were knocking back about a gallon a day. Now that's what I call dedication. Fast forward a few thousand years, and we find ourselves in Germany, the land of beer and bratwurst. In 1516, Duke Wilhelm IV of Bavaria issued a decree that would change the course of beer history. The Reinheitsgebot, or the German beer purity law. This law stated that beer could only be made with 3 ingredients: water, barley and hops. That's it. No funny business, no added extras, just pure, simple beer. Now, some folks might call that boring, but the Germans, they knew what they were doing. This law wasn't just about taste, though. It was also about safety. See, back then, brewers were putting all sorts of things in their beer. Some of it was harmless enough, but some of it could be pretty dodgy. So the Reinheitsgebot was there to protect the people, to make sure they were drinking something that wouldn't knock them dead. Section 4, From Craft to Commerce, the Industrial Revolution and Beer. Now, hold on to your hats because things are about to get a bit steamy. The 19th century rolled around and with it came the Industrial Revolution. This wasn't just about factories and machines, you see. It was about beer too. This was the time when beer brewing went from a cottage industry to a massive global business. Thanks to new technologies like the steam engine and the thermometer, brewers could produce beer on a scale never seen before. Big breweries sprung up, churning out barrels upon barrels of beer. It was the time of great innovation and experimentation too. New styles of beer emerged, from pale ales to lagers. And with better transportation, beer could be shipped all over the world. Section 5, the dry years prohibition in the United States. Now, for a bit of a downer, let's talk about prohibition in the United States. From 1920 to 1933, the US government decided to ban the sale and consumption of alcohol. That's right, no beer for anyone. They thought it would solve all their problems, but it just made things worse. Organised crime went through the roof, with gangsters like Al Capone making a fortune from bootlegging. People were drinking bathtub gin and moonshine, which was about as appealing as it sounds. And of course, there was a thriving black market for beer. Prohibition was a disaster, plain and simple. It didn't stop people from drinking, it just drove it underground. Thankfully, it didn't last forever. In 1933, the 18th Amendment was repealed and America could finally raise a glass again. Cheers to that! Section 6. Cheers to the modern world beer today. So, here we are in the 21st century and beer is more popular than ever. It's a global phenomenon, with millions of people enjoying a cold one every day. And what a time to be a beer lover. Today we're spoiled for choice. There are thousands of different beers from all over the world, each with its unique flavour and character. From crisp pilsners to hoppy IPAs, there's a beer out there for everyone. And let's not forget about the craft beer revolution. These days, it's not just the big breweries calling the shots. Small, independent brewers are popping up everywhere, experimenting with new ingredients and techniques. It's an exciting time for beer, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. So, next time you raise a glass, take a moment to appreciate the long and storied history of this beloved beverage. Cheers.